What is rolling, everybody? You're watching a brand spanking new video here on the Car Boot Collectors YouTube channel. Today we're coming at you with another haul, this time courtesy of the Shepton Mallet Giant Flea Market held at the Bath and West Showground. I've only been to it once before and I didn't find a whole lot of much of interest, but this time we found a whole bunch of vintage goodness and some other tat and some other junk and some other cool clobber that was appealing to me. So yeah, we'll get on and bloody show you what I found, share some anecdotes where relevant and information where irrelevant. So let's get on and bloody show you. Flea market is a bit like, I want to say 50% in between a car boot sale and antique fair. You've got your general car booty sort of stalls there. You've got your higher end antique decorative sort of stuff there. It's a bit of everything and everything in between, you know. You get people there selling massive pitch garden furniture and then other pitches like massive pitch of boxes of tat to rummage through. You can never really tell what's going to come out, so it's sort of in the middle. It's probably overall a bit more expensive to buy it than a car boot sale, but you get some better stuff come up sometimes, not always. Not really any rhyme or reason to any of that, as I'm sure everybody knows, but that's basically where we're at. If you're unfamiliar, car boots over here, high-end posho antique fair over here. This is sort of in the middle. So let's get on in and show you what I got. We're going to start off with the comics down here because it's getting a bit late. These stones down here are going to start to get a little bit moist and I don't want to ruin the comics, so let's get on and show you that. So these all come from this old lady. She had loads of toys and stuff, nothing really that exciting, and all of it was really overpriced. And then she had these stacks of comics, and I was like, oh, how much are they? And she was like, oh, 5p each, but some are more expensive. So I was like, which ones are more expensive? And she was like, oh, the Marvel ones. They're you know, I want to sell them as a group for like £25 or £30 or something. So I was like, bloody hell, jeez, 5p each, we'll grab a little stack. So I was initially drawn to these Alan Class comics. These are really cool. They were like a British company back in the day who sort of reprinted in quite low quality, black and white form, reprints of American comics that they were able to sort of license cheaply because they were really old. And they've always got these really wacky covers. They've always got really cool cover art, which I'm a fan of. So we've got these four here. They're in pretty good condition as far as they go. These are like really pretty high grade, I would say. They're pretty decent. Not sure what era these are, probably like late 70s, early 80s. Uncanny Tales there. Sinister Tales, slightly older one. And a Secrets of the Unknown. Just love the artwork on them. They're not particularly valuable. Some of them have reprints of Marvel stories, and quite a few of them do. Some of them have Marvel covers, and some of those are really sought after. But generally, you know, these are like 5-10 quid a piece, give or take, less, sometimes a bit more, depending on who wants them and when and what the condition is. When I heard they were 5p each, I just grabbed these ones over here. The Tiger Holiday Special, pretty high grade, I'd say. Valiant Summer Special, fairly average. Victor Summer Special, fairly average, folded. And these two over here, Star-Lord, which I've never heard of before. They're pretty decent. So, my leg's got cramp. My leg has got cramp. So yeah, I pulled them out and she was like, oh, give us 50p. And I was like, that's too cheap. We'll give you a bloody quid for them. Let's bargain at that. I would have paid a couple of quid each for the Alan Class ones because I'm a fan of them. Obviously I didn't say that, but paid her a quid for those. And I had a little flick through the Marvel stack. So it was a whole stack of these Marvel UK comics that are a slightly bigger format than the typical Marvel comics. I saw issue 1 of Dracula Lives Here. Pretty average condition, a few creases, but it is complete. Missing the poster. This is quite a sought after comic. This is a bit of a key issue, if you will. Fairly average condition like this is, you know, it's probably worth about £25, £30. I went back and I was like, I only want one of them, would you sell them separately? And she was like, no, they've all got to go together. And it was just like some Marvel Star Wars, some other Marvel stuff, and I was like, I'll give you a £5 for that one. And she was like, yeah, go on then. So I paid a £5 for that. Not in the best condition, as I said already. The staples are a little pulled, but you know, it's all right for a £5. So quite a sought after issue. If you price it low enough, someone will have it just as a placeholder. So I'll get that bagged and boarded up, and it will look a pretty snazzy. A Dragon diecast tank. Picked up one of these last week. I picked up an Abrams tank, and here's another one that I picked up. Paid a little bit more for this one, but it's cool. Panther F, minty in the box, 172 scale Dragon tank. As I said in the last video, these are quite expensive to buy new. Some of them go up in value quite a bit. Typically quite slow sellers, but they're always popular. I always pick them up when I see them at the right price, and that was at the right price. And I got it bundled up with this, which I was quite happy with. Have not had one of these in a long time. This Dinky Toys Shadow Mobile from Jerry Anderson's UFO. It's in pretty nice condition. It's got both the tracks. It is missing the rocket, but all of the mechanism and everything works. See, that just flings around. So yeah, that's okay. I was quite happy with it. Does it work? It should do. It was, yeah, there you go, just holds in place. So yeah, that was bundled in with the tank. They weren't pennies, but they were a good deal. The one of these that really brings a lot of money is the one that has the flat roof. This one's like textured, as you can see. There is the version with a flat roof, which is quite a lot more desired. There's also one in metallic blue that goes for a lot of money. But yeah, Shadow Mobile, that's pretty cool. Let's go with this next, just quick and easy. Battlestar Galactica jigsaw. Jigsaws for me just don't sell that well, even when you take them to shows. I think they're quite nice, like to sit at the back of a shelf behind your figures or whatever. But they just don't even go for very much. Even if you price them really cheap, they don't sell particularly well at fairs and that. But that was only £1. I couldn't leave it behind for that. The box is so clean. Whether it's complete or not, it's a bargain for that. Picked up these two over here. This might look a little bit, you know, a little bit odd. You might be thinking, why the hell did he pick those up for? They look like absolute junk. That looks like kitsch, junk, garbage, landfill fodder. And you would possibly be right. But when I saw these, my reaction was, geez. Because I've never seen one of these out in the wild before. I'm quite familiar with them, and you know, it's an item which is very, very sought after. It's just a Japanese mid-century, you know, like 1950s, 1960s ceramic biscuit barrel shaped like a lion. But these are really popular because they are featured in Only Fools and Horses. Del Boy keeps his cigars in them, I believe. I've never really watched it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, they seem to commonly be listed as like Del Boy cigar holder, you know, pot, whatever. Pretty averagely sell for like £100 to £150, sell quite steadily at that. It's not a particularly rare item. Seemingly they are about, because they're quite often on eBay. But yeah, I saw these right at the end of the show, just on a junk stall, and I was like, bloody hell, how much are those? And the guy was like happy to get rid of them. It's like, got the pair for £25. You know, obviously it's a bit of a pain to post stuff like that because it's quite big, bulky ceramic, but you know, we'll take them for that. That's a bargain. So yeah, Del Boy jars, although not really, but may as well be. We picked up this. This is a bit of an odd one, another little oddity. Then we're back to the toys, I promise. A little bit of sculpture. This is a bronze sculpture of something, a dude. I don't know. Is that his head and there his arms? I don't know. Minimalist, because it's metal and a little bit janky, brutalist even. But yeah, very nice. No markings, no signature. It's just very tactile. It's got this all sort of hammered look to it. It's very tactile, very weighty. It probably weighs a good, you know, well over 1 kilogram. It's very cool. But yeah, bronze little sculpture. I saw it and I was just intrigued by it, and I picked up and I was like, yeah, it's speaking to me. It's got a good vibe to it. I like that. So we bought that. I paid a fair amount of money for it, but a price where I was like, I think it's probably worth a bit more than that if I can identify the artist or a bit more info. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Posted it on a few art pages, and 50% people going, that's cool, I would have bought that. And the other 50%, that's rubbish, that's just a doorstop. It's not a doorstop, it's a sculpture, you absolute idiot. So yeah, there we go. Next, only a few more bits to go now really. These bits here, these are from a house clearance dude. He had a whole stool table, few tables in fact, full of vintage toys, board games, jigsaws and the like. All of it very clearly had been stored in a very damp attic or barn or something. You know, it's all very damp, mouldy, stinky, you know, rodent eaten in some cases. And I had a good look through, and these were the pieces I pulled out, and I was initially a bit like, they're a bit, this especially is a bit ropey, and I almost didn't buy this. but then I thought, no, I'm being a wally, I can break it down because the box is really nice. So we picked up Evel Knievel here, the stunt set made by Ideal, 1970s. The toy is roached, it doesn't work, the handle is broken, you know, it doesn't work properly. The bike is absolutely wrecked, you know, the stickers are bad. It'll probably clean up a little bit. Evel himself, he's bad, he's all broken, he's all dirty, but he does have the helmet. But really what was appealing was, one, the price, because it wasn't very expensive, and two, the box, because the box is really nice. You know, look at that, the box is complete. That will press out a little bit at the top, and it's got all the packing inserts in there. So, you know, it's almost didn't bother because it stinks as well. It really does smell. Just smells of damp. Like, we can get that out of the box, but I think we're probably looking at, you know, the figure is like a restoration project for someone. Just list it cheap and it will go, and the box is, you know, a pretty good one if I can clean it up a bit. So that was cool. And then we picked up this here. This is a Japanese gacha man, or Popey, however you call it. Well, the box is incorrect. So we've got the Condor Attacker vehicle here. It's not in bad condition, it's a bit worn, it's missing a few pieces. I'm pretty sure I've got the bits so to make this complete. I've got a battered one I picked up at the charity shop a while ago, and it has the rockets, but it's battered. So I think this is all broken and battered, but it's got the bits. So I might, it's still in reasonable condition, I'm sure. Yeah, but yeah, it's got the figure and that in it, so that's okay. And it came in the box for the Moto Sky motorcycle, which you can see in there, it's a bit moldy inside, it's a bit battered. But an uncommon toy, so someone will still want the box. It displays well. Again, that box should clean up fairly well. I'll get it reclining in a box with some bicarbonate of soda, and that tends to draw the moisture out and the smell. Doesn't always work, but it can clean, you know, it does help to get the smell out a bit. So there you go. A final few bits now, onto the little fiddly bits and a couple of big things. So we'll just go with these. This was a cool find, I was really happy with these. These are from a dude who, I don't know who he was. He recognised me though. He was like, oh, you go to the auction, don't you? Oh, you go to the car boot. I was like, I don't know who you are, I'm sorry. That's what it's like being in the car boot YouTube game. Everyone recognises you all the time, but I don't know who he was. But he recognised me, obviously not from YouTube, just from seeing me about. But we picked up these two here, so this is really cool. I had a little feeling when I was driving there. I was like, oh, it'd be nice to find like a nice fat vintage remote control car that maybe some house clearance dude has found and he doesn't realise how sought after it is. And sure enough, that's what happened here. So this is a Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin. Would have been a kit originally, like from new, probably an 80s era one. They still make this kit, but yeah, it's a project. You know, there's a bit of rust to the shock absorbers there. It needs to be taken apart, stripped down, bits replaced, put back together. But like most, you know, like some other hobbies, like, you know, whatever, die-cast models, that is a big part of this hobby, or a big area of it, is restoring them and fixing them up. So finding one in parts condition is a good thing, really, because they always go. And it came with an ACOMS transmitter there, so he's a bit worn. He's been stored. The guy told me it was straight out of a garage from a house clearance, and it didn't cost very much, so that was damn cool. Always project Tamiya cars go very well, very quick, and I always get a lot of traction. I can predict it. I'll put it on auction on eBay. Within about, you know, 5 minutes, there'll already be about 4 people messaging me going, have you got a buy it now price? Have you got a buy it now price? And then it'll be bid up to about what it will sell for within an hour or two. That's just what'll happen. I mean, this is from the same fella as well. I love this. It's just an old cheapo Woolies skateboard, generic deck with really weird artwork. You get some really cool artwork on these, like the Alan Class comics. They just appeal to me because of how a little bit weird they are. Sort of devil with this sort of My Pet Monster-esque chains that he's breaking out of. Apparently a mad skull. Even that graphic is really cool. So that's cool. I've got a few of these on my wall at home. So yeah, I'll get all of this stuff taken off, get the trucks taken off, and that'll be a wall hanger. Pretty darn cool. And the final few bits here, these were from, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of shouting, a lot of noise going on out here. Very weird. And we got some little odds and sods. These were from like a sort of, I don't know, curio dealer type person. He had all sorts of cases full of curios, taxidermy, skulls, weird artwork, trinkets, tribal memorabilia, all sorts of stuff like that, carvings. And then he just had some cases full of little odds and bits and pieces and smalls. So I pulled out these bits that were all appealing to me. And this little badge here, Candy, I don't really know why I picked that up. Reminded me of the Jerry Anderson Candy comic, but it isn't anything to do with it. This little Tom Jones badge, which is unfortunately broken. That's a pretty early one. Raleigh Motorcycles promotional key ring. That's pretty cool. And this is a nice little thing. Fairy Tales and Fantasies, 1996. Crew of Zeus. And I've done a bit of research on that, and it's some kind of like Mardi Gras event. But I just liked it because of all the characters on it. You can see it's got the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's got one of the turtles. It's got a few Disney characters. It's got Taz. Is that licensed or not? I don't know. But it is cool. And then a few little figures here. So these are sort of generic cake topper figures. Probably would have been sold with like bootleg Beatles branding on the packaging. They're pretty cool. Pretty worthless, but nonetheless pretty interesting. A little white metal figure of Henry VIII, which I quite like. He was appealing. A little white metal painted figure of Charlie Chaplin. It's unfortunately a little bit battered. And then this really cool little white metal bootleg Shrek and Donkey figure. This is, if I'm not mistaken, there used to be a fella at the toy fair who used to sell all of these like hand casted and painted bootleg figures, and he'd always have like a lot of actual toy soldiers and some like characters there, and they're usually like castings of existing merchandise, and he'd just done them in metal and done them himself. And I'm pretty sure this is one of his. I haven't seen him for a long time, but yeah, they're always like this, a little bit you know, not accurate, I will say, but I quite like them. That's a good hefty thing as well. So that was a little bundle out of their cabinets of miscellaneous badges and brooches and things. So yeah, there you go. That's the flea market for you. So a cool little haul of bits and bobs, I think. Spent a fair chunk of change today, but some good deals, some good bargains were had. So that's the main thing. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. It's getting dark out here. It's time for an alcoholic beverage, I feel. So we'll see you on the flip side.